Hey guys, what's going on? It's Akko here. Today I'm going to be covering 5 tips and tricks to get you out of low elo in Valorant. This video applies to beginners and those that have been stuck in Iron and Bronze for as long as they can remember. These tips and tricks will give you the fundamental skills needed to succeed in the game. Before I begin, I would like to state that I am not in the high ranks of Valorant. I hover around Gold and Plat, and this video is targeted for people that have trouble reaching these ranks. Now, the number one problem I see with beginners in Valorant is crosshair placement. It is very common to see players running around with their crosshair pointing at the floor in the lower ranks. Instead, what you want to do is hold your crosshair where you predict the enemies will be. Not only do you want to predict where they are going to be, but you want to make sure that your crosshair is at head level. This may be difficult for beginners that are not used to the height of the enemies, but there are many indicators around the map to help guide you. Look for certain lines like these to help you understand where your crosshair needs to be in order to stay at head level. Crosshair placement is a great habit to get used to and can cancel out bad aim in certain situations. Without proper crosshair placement, it requires you to rely on flicking and aim unnecessarily. Use proper crosshair placement and the kills will start rolling in. Next up, we have spray control and tap firing. The two most popular guns in Valorant are the Vandal and Phantom. It is crucial that beginners learn how to properly cancel out the recoil from these two guns if they are to perform well. The first 3 to 4 bullets are relatively easy to control for both guns. After that, the bullets begin to rise quickly and move slightly to the right. This can be controlled by pulling your mouse down and to the left slightly. Then the bullets begin to move side to side in a more unpredictable manner, so it is not recommended that you hold down the trigger for too long. Which brings me to my next point. Full spraying and tap firing, which is when you shoot in 2 to 4 bullet intervals, are both useful in different situations. Full spraying is best at close and sometimes medium range, while tap firing is more accurate for long range duels. It is all too common for players in the lower rank to spray at very long distances. If you can understand how to control the recoil of the gun as I explained, and when to spray versus tap fire, you will notice a huge improvement in your ability to perform. Third on the list is map control. This is almost non-existent at the lower ranks, but can make a huge difference if executed correctly. Simply stated, map control is the area of the map that your team has vision of, or knows is occupied. On offense, this can be used to prevent enemies from flanking. A very common strategy in the lower ranks is to blindly rush a site, which can work very well if executed correctly, but can also fail because you lose a lot of map control by stacking one site. Take a look at the map of Haven. By stacking a site, you are allowing the enemy to push out from C long, garage, and B site. If they are able to get out of mid, your team is now pinched in a small area and the enemy will know where your whole team is. On defense, it is a lot more important to understand map control. If you give up a site or rotate too quickly, you leave a lot of gaps in your defense and your team is susceptible to lurkers and a quick rotation from the enemy team. To prevent this, avoid over-rotating and leave something like a Cypher tripwire to prevent lurkers if you do have to rotate. With a team that understands map control very well, defending can be much easier. Lastly, this understanding of map control will add to your game sense and make you a more aware player. Next up, we have over-aggression and re-peeking. This is a very simple topic and can save you many unnecessary deaths in your competitive matches. Too many times I see my lower rank friends peek an enemy, take cover, and re-peek the same enemy. This is extremely dangerous and even more risky against certain weapons like the operator. Simply avoiding the same angle or using a flash can make all the difference. In certain cases, it may be smart to rotate even. Over-aggression can often lead teams to force a push onto a given site. I see so many players watch their teammates swing and get killed, only to swing the same angle and get picked off as well. Knowing when to back off a site and having the correct map control can allow for a rotation to a different site on attack. On defense, it is important to know when to back off a site when the enemy team is rushing. In the heat of the moment, many people attempt to swing the people rushing the site and die without having any meaningful impact on the round. Instead, toss a molly down or smoke off the enemies to retreat to safer lines. From there, the team can set up a retake and have a better chance at winning the round. Now for the last tip, I decided to do some general do's and don'ts. The first thing to watch out for is reloading when it's not necessary. 10 bullets are plenty enough to kill an enemy. In the direst situations, even 2 bullets are better than reloading. Reloading can reveal your location to the enemies, and there sometimes isn't enough time to reload before the next enemy challenges you. If you find yourself constantly out of ammo, I suggest using the Phantom, as it has a clip with 5 more bullets than the Vandal. Another tip is to make sure you check all the possible angles when peeking. Swinging wide exposes yourself to multiple angles at the same time. Unless you have information on the enemy's location, you should be clearing angles slowly to ensure that you will only face one enemy at a time. Lastly, communication is key to success. Comms are extremely important in Valorant. Understanding where the enemy team is and how much health they have can greatly improve your chances of winning rounds. Simply alerting your team when you hear enemies outside of sight when you're defending, or suggesting a rotation on attack can make a huge difference. Oh, and of course, don't get salty at your teammates and ignore the ones that get salty at you. Constructive criticism is always good, but make sure your head is always level. And those were 5 tips and tricks to help you get out of low elo in Valorant. If you found the video helpful and enjoyed it, like it and comment which part helped you the most. Suggest other topics you would want me to cover or ask me questions you still may have. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.